And welcome back. I'm Sergeant Richard Lloyd, Public Information Officer for the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. And today I got a special treat for us. This is Major Randy Tift with our Detention Division, sir. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's been a while.
It has been a while, and I'm really glad that you came back to talk to us. You know, a thing that a lot of folks don't know is just how much information is asked of the Detention Division.
Yeah.
You know, it happens to be our number one part of our website, hundreds, if not thousands of calls a week, a lot of information. So this show is going to be about our Detention Division. And first, we got a lot of other things to go through, but Major, tell us a little bit about your background, what you do, and how you do it.
I'm the Director of Detention for Santa Rosa County Jail. Jail holds about 682 inmates right now, and we've got some things going on that I think we'll talk about here in a few minutes. That's going to increase that. I've been in corrections for 29 years now. So started at the state level, and about 2.5 years ago came to Santa Rosa County. So it's been an interesting career, and you're right, Rich. We get a lot of calls every day from people, a lot of questions, and we have that web page, and we'll go through some of those things and talk about some of those things, give people some areas to go to get some answers, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. So first, let's go through our hot topics of last week. So we had, first and foremost, Tropical Storm Barry came through our area, actually a little bit to the west, and we did escape this one, thankfully. And just remember, the one thing with a tropical storm, or any storm for that matter, is stay out of the water. That has been a huge issue for us every year.
Rip currents were horrible down there.
They were.
I mean, it was dangerous.
Every year we see several drownings that take place over in Navarre Beach and other areas.
And a lot of people that come from out of state. They're not used to that water. They're not used to the rip currents. Don't know, you know, the education of how to get out of them if you do get caught in one. And we get a lot of visitors, which we love those visitors.
Absolutely.
But they're not used to the beach. They're not used to the water. They're not used to those rip currents. And you know, we do everything we can to educate everybody and keep everybody out of there, because it's dangerous, and especially if you young kids get in there, it's just, for a grown adult, it's hard to fight that rip current. So
absolutely. And as a avid fisherman, I'm out there all the time. One of the things a lot of folks don't realize is you don't necessarily have to see the rip current for it to be there. A lot of times under the surface there are rip currents that take place and you have no idea they're there, and sure enough they'll carry you out. So please be careful and heed those warnings on the flags. Hey, we want to mention a great donation that went to our K-9 division, and that's from Miss Works, which is on Highway 98 in Gulf Breeze, and this is the second unit they've donated to us.
That's right.
And if you don't know what these things are, they're really neat. If you drive down Highway 98 in Gulf Breeze, you'll see this gigantic smoke of water everywhere. It's pretty interesting, and what it is, it's a misting system, and this year they've donated to our K-9 division for our bloodhounds.
That's right.
Copper and zinc. And last year they donated a system for our Teen Driver Challenge, which in the summer is brutal.
Yes.
So
absolutely. Yeah, our deputies, both my K-9 deputies, just happened to go in there. They were looking at some valves, and they were going to kind of make a system there to keep the kennels a little bit cooler. And when they told them what they were doing, they said, "Oh no, you're not going to get them," and they gave the entire system.
That is amazing.
They said, "We're going to support the sheriff's department. We're going to support dogs. We love supporting dogs," and they had several in their store there. So we're very appreciative of them, and Mist Works in Gulf Breeze.
I want to thank them, a community-minded business leader in the south end of Santa Rosa. Next up is a new texting law that took place on July 1st, and we really want to mention that. Remember, we saw the sheriff out on Highway 90 waving signs and making sure everyone understood that it was the first day. So I want to take a minute here. It is a primary offense now, and I want to just take a minute to read verbatim what the change in the law was. So, and real quick, I'll just mention this. A person may not operate a vehicle while manually typing, entering multiple letters, numbers, symbols, or any other characters into a wireless communication device while sending, reading data on such a device for the purposes of non-voice interpersonal communication, including but not limited to texting, emails, instant message, so forth and so on. And a wireless device is a cell phone. I want to make sure that's clear. And if you do get pulled over, you are subjected to Santa Rosa County $166 citation, and no person may operate a motor vehicle while using a wireless device in a school zone and also a working construction zone. So in those areas, you can't have anything in your hands. And that's a new change. It is a $166 fine. We're going to be giving out warnings through the rest of the year, and come January, we'll start writing some citations.
Yep.
So be very careful with that. And next is some promotions that we've had. Some really recent promotions. I want to congratulate the new lieutenants, which is Lieutenant Miller, Brian Miller, Lieutenant Blake Weekly, and Lieutenant James Vaughn. I want to congratulate them. And Sergeant John Young, AJ Calabro, and Charles Ryan. So we want to take a moment to congratulate you and continuing your career, your new positions, and your new titles. So congratulations.
And thanks for taking on the challenge.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a challenge. These supervisors, they have a lot on their shoulders, and we appreciate them taking on the challenge and going forth and serving this county.
Huge responsibility, and there's coming up some detention promotions. Am I right?
Yep. We got some promotions this week for detention.
Well, by
lieutenant
the time
and
this
a sergeant.
airs.
Yeah.
So
we're going to have Sergeant Bobby's going to be promoted to lieutenant.
Great.
And Deputy Madison is going to be promoted to sergeant.
Awesome.
This Thursday, Sheriff Johnson will be promoting him. So we want to congratulate Sergeant Madison and Lieutenant Bobby on their promotions this week. Thank them for taking on the challenge, and they, as we go through this and talk about it, you'll see they're the supervisors and all the deputies back there have quite a challenge in detention. So we appreciate them taking on the responsibilities of supervisor and leading the deputies in detention.
So do they know they're being promoted today?
Yes.
Okay. So
they do know.
They do know.
They do know. Yeah. We let them know before we told everybody else.
That's great. So this is pre-recorded. So by Sunday, they'll already know about it. So I want to wish them the best of congratulations, best of luck, and continued success. So let's get right to the meat of the show, Major. Let's talk about detention. So I'm just going to ask you some questions. These are questions that are what we call FAQs, frequently asked questions, that we've determined from either phone calls, through our website, and also from our Facebook page. So I'll tell you what, there's so much to go through. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Have you ever laid in bed and wonder what your future is going to be like? I do, and I often wonder what it's like to be a deputy. How would I look in a uniform? What's on that belt? What's the car look like inside? Who would I work with? What's it like to help others in need? What's it like to fight crime? One day, I'm gonna know.
From that first day when I started hearing stories about what law enforcement actually, entailed, I was hooked. I'm very involved with, being on the SWAT team. It's my niche, if you will. I take pride in what I do. And my wife grew up in Santa Rosa County. I have, 2 children, one on the way. I try to be the best husband and father I can be. Hopefully at the end of the day, make me a better cop as well.
I am Michael Ramirez, and I am proud to be a Santa Rosa County Deputy Sheriff.
And welcome back. Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office is currently hiring. We also have some brand new bonuses that is being offered by, now it's not taxpayer money, but we are giving some bonuses. Go over to our career link, and by signing up with us, we're just going to meet what other agencies across the Northwest Florida are doing. So take a look at that. We're looking for law enforcement and dispatchers. So, Major, for question number 1, can you describe what is expected by an individual arrested once they get to the jail?
Just be cooperative with staff. That's the biggest key, is be cooperative with the staff when they come in. They're going to have a lot of questions. We want to make sure, one, we know any medical history and any issues they could be having, anything that they want to let medical staff. They're checked by medical, they're searched by our detention deputies. They do a great job going through that process and our booking process to try to make it as uncomfortable as possible. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you know, they try to make it as uncomfortable as possible and process them through. There's certain things we got to get fingerprints.
Right.
Got to take pictures. Got to get their background information, information on them, their family, you know, everything. So, and getting everything put into the computer, and then getting all that process done so that if they do have a bond, they can bond out at that point. We can process them right back out of the jail.
And you mentioned something that we didn't talk about earlier, but I think it's important to note, and I used to get this a lot when I was on patrol, is do I need to bring my medication with me?
You can bring your medication. We're not going to give it to you. We're going to secure it. Medical is going to take that medication. We're going to put it into a vacuum seal bag, and medical will take possession of it, and they'll store it until you get out. And really, that's just for the safety of the individual and the safety of the sheriff's office. Because if not, you would have to look at every single pill, look it up to make sure it's what they're supposed to be getting. Now, there are some that come in with that specialty medication. Once medical verifies it, if they don't have it on hand immediately, then they can use that person's medications. But we don't let them take it and give it. Medical will provide the medications that they need while they're there.
So you don't necessarily have to bring it with you.
No.
It'll be provided for you.
Yeah.
So how can someone find out about someone who's been arrested in our jail?
Our website, Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office website, go to Jail View. It'll show you on Jail View on there where to go. You can find out all the information. There's a wealth of information in this web page that'll give you information about the jail, what's going on, the inmate handbook, how to contact an inmate. Gives you some pictures of inside the Santa Rosa County Jail. Talks about Prison Rape Elimination Act, our PREA, and the inmate accounts. So you just go to our website, click on what area you're looking for and what you're interested in, and it'll take you right to it. It's very self-explanatory, really easy to navigate.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't know that our webpage has all this information, and we try to provide as much as we can on there that it saves somebody from calling, trying to take time out of their day to call to find out information. If you can't, you feel free. You can call, and we will guide you through and get you the information you need.
Sure. So how can someone find out either charges or bond? Is that also included in the Jail View section?
It is. It is. When you go through Jail View and you look them up by name, and it'll show what those charges are, what bond's been set, and that gives family members an opportunity to know, okay, there's a bond. They can reach out to a bondsman, get that worked out so that once the booking process is over with, then they can get it. And just as soon as we finish that booking process and get that photo, it's up on the webpage. So there's not a big delay other than the booking process itself.
Right. And those that don't or are not familiar with Jail View, it was that first section there under Jail tab. You click on that, you can essentially search through our jail records to see who's been in there in the past, current, and we don't have a future, but it is all the information we have, and there it is up on top. You just click on that Jail View, it'll drop down, and there's a little search function. And for those, depending on the type of computer you have, you could either use the one that's on the browser, or there's another button that says click here, and it'll take you to a separate browser depending if you're a PC or Mac.
Right.
So how does a bond work, and who sets that?
Well, most of the bonds are going to be set. Some charges and arrests are going to have no bond.
Right.
And if there's a no bond, then they have to wait for their first appearance. First appearance comes within 24 hours of every arrest, unless you bond out prior to. The bond is set by a bond schedule in our county, and the arresting officer, based off of the charges that they were given, sets that bond, and there's bond limits there. So that arresting deputy or officer, for whether it was a city or state FHP, will set that based off the bond schedule. So it's easy to see on there. If there is a no bond, they'll have an opportunity to request that bond at first appearance, and our first appearances they'll go the following day, somewhere before 1:30.
Can someone call into the jail and ask to speak to an inmate?
No, we cannot. As I previously said, we've got 682 inmates in there. So there's no way for us to track down an inmate and bring him to a phone for a family member to do it. You can go to our webpage, which we talked about, inmate accounts setup, that shows on our phone system there how to set up an account. The inmate, when they get in there, they'll know how to do it. If they don't, there's somebody there to help them. They'll get on the phone, start making phone calls to the family, let them know how to get their account set up so they can make phone calls.
And with that, you also have video visitation. So it's not just telephone, you could also do video visitation.
That's correct.
Which is something new that's just happened in the past few years, and I think that's pretty exciting.
It is. It gives family members an opportunity to see them face to face instead of just talking to them. And sometimes that adds a little comfort, you know, when you're away from your loved ones, and sometimes just seeing them and makes it a little easier. It's not going to be easy when a family member's taken away from their family, but
sure, absolutely.
But it also allows that family member to see kids. If they are in the jail, they can still see their kids through the video visitation. And so it does offer an opportunity for them to still stay connected with the family.
So it goes without saying, we certainly cannot pass messages along to inmates.
No.
So one of the other things is we do house federal inmates, and in our jail view section, there's a few acronyms, and we do get a lot of this. And real quick, can you talk about some of those, like FBOP? What does that mean? Yeah,
we have an acronym for everything, Rich. I mean, if it comes out to be a long name, we're going to make up an
That's
acronym
right.
so we can get through it quickly. And just like we do, Federal Bureau of Prisons, FBOP is the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and that's their acronym. We do house some Federal Bureau of Prison. We have a federal courthouse in Pensacola. Sure. So we house federal inmates that have charges pending. They could be in Federal Bureau of Prisons in another state, but come here because they have a pending federal case. We have U.S. Marshal inmates, that anybody that was that has federal charges and they're pending court cases over in Pensacola. Right now we're holding some of Bay counties because of the Hurricane Michael and the damage to Bay County. So we've got some of Bay County's inmates over here that we're keeping right now, just so they can get their courthouse back on track. So that's our U.S. Marshal inmates. Another acronym is GPS. That's Global Position System. That's basically the GPS system that we put on inmates. If it's ordered by the court, the judge orders GPS tracking. They'll put the GPS monitor on the inmate when they're released, just so that they can keep track of what's going on while they're out on bond or out pending their cases.
Let's do this. Let's go to a quick commercial break. We got tons more information. We'll be right back.
Why are we here?
Because you guys busted me stealing from cars.
So how were you getting into these cars?
It's easy, man. I just open the doors.
What do you mean you just open the doors?
Most of the cars I get into are left unlocked.
What are you looking for when you get into these cars?
Cell phones, wallets, guns, purses with money, and even sunglasses. You'd be surprised what people leave in their vehicles. If people would just lock their cars. If people would just lock their cars.
From that first day when I started hearing stories about what law enforcement actually, entailed, I was hooked. I'm very involved with, being on the SWAT team. It's my niche, if you will. I take pride in what I do. And my wife grew up in Santa Rosa County. I have, 2 children, one on the way. I try to be the best husband and father I can be. Hopefully at the end of the day, make me a better cop as well.
I am Michael Ramirez, and I am proud to be a Santa Rosa County Deputy Sheriff.
And welcome back to the show. The Santa Rosa County Crime Stoppers, great organization, and they're the ones that help us out with wanted fugitives. And Major, this is our favorite part of the show. You ready to do some wanted fugitives?
Yeah.
All right, let's get started. So first one is going to be Aliana Rochelle Bentz, and Aliana is wanted for VOP charges, possession of controlled substance, resisting law enforcement without violence. She's a white female, 29 years of age, 5'7", 180 pounds. She has red hair and brown eyes.
All right, next we have James Milton Bryan II. James is wanted for VOP, battering on a person 65 years or older. James is a white male and is 63 years old. He's approximately 6 foot, 235 pounds, with gray hair and blue eyes, marked as violent.
That's right. So next up is Jeremy Scott Jackson, and Jeremy's wanted for grand theft of a motor vehicle. Jeremy is a black male, 37 years of age, about 5'7", 155 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes.
Next is Nathan Knight Harvey. Nathan's wanted on charges of burglary of unoccupied conveyance, grand theft of a firearm, first-degree petty theft, less than $300. Nathan is a white male and is 35 years old. He's approximately 5'11" and 210 pounds, at 210 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. He may be armed also.
So make sure you don't approach him. Call Crime Stoppers. Next up is Timothy John Malk. And Timothy's wanted for false utterance of an instrument, 2 counts. That means writing bad checks. Timothy is a white male, 50 years of age, 5'8", 190 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes.
Next is Sean Asa Ward. Sean is wanted for violation of injunction protection against domestic violence. Sean's a white male, 53 years old, approximately 5'10", 210 pounds with brown hair and green eyes.
And next up is Malcolm Jamar Celestine. And Malcolm is wanted for charges on battery, causing bodily harm, grand theft of a motor vehicle. And Malcolm's a black male, 27 years of age. He's about 5'9", black hair, and he has brown eyes.
Next, Andrew Delaney Lockhart. Andrew's wanted for VOP, which is violation of probation, possession of controlled substance. Andrew is a white male and is 51 years old. He's approximately 5'8", 170 pounds with brown hair and blue eyes. He is violent and may be armed also.
And next up, Skyla Louise Braddock. And Skyla is wanted for a weapons offense, which is discharging a missile into a dwelling or a vehicle, and criminal mischief, $1,000. And Skyla is a white female, 5'3", brown hair and brown eyes.
Last but not least, Jesse Jack Stevens. Jesse is wanted for order revoking bond, dealing in stolen property, possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, driving while license suspended, third or subsequent offense. Jesse is a white male and is 43 years old. He's approximately 5'10" and 180 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes, violent and may be armed also.
Jesse, you know you shouldn't be driving, and if any of these individuals are watching this, turn yourself in. It's the right thing to do. And also, if you know any of these individuals, 437-STOP, Santa Rosa County Crime Stoppers. We got 5 minutes, sir. Let's try to get through some of these other questions real quick.
Yeah, let me. We left off with GPS, talked about that. The next thing on that you'll see on our webpage is WAM, W-A-M. That's a wearable alcohol monitor. It's basically an alcohol patch ordered by the judge to monitor whether they consume any alcohol while they're out on bond. Court alternatives. You'll see that listed on there a lot. Court Alternatives is a contractor that handles all this for probation. They do the GPS, they do the drug patch, they do the WAM, the wearable alcohol monitor for the county. One other thing that a lot of people we get questions on is what happens to somebody's property when they get arrested?
Great question.
What happens to their money? Where does it go to? They get to keep it? No. They take all the property that they come in with. They get to keep very little. We issue them clothing. We issue them their health and comfort items, and they'll have an opportunity to buy that through commissary. We put all that into a property bag and seal it up where nothing can come up missing, and once they're released, that property is returned back to them so they can leave. Their money they can put into their account. Have a machine there that allows them to put all their cash all into their account so that they have access to buy stuff while they're in the jail through our commissary program. Or they can even use it for a cash bond if they need it. They've got the money, they can get out.
Yep.
The other question is, does it cost to be in our jail? It does cost. It's minimal, but there is a cost. Once you come into the jail and booked, it's a $20 processing and booking fee, and then it's $2 a day substance for every day that you're there. If you're assigned a job and you work while you're there, and we have a lot that do cleaning, some do the car wash, we do have mowing outside the facility. If you do that, you waive all of those charges. You don't get charged because you're working with the county. People can send money. There's some that come in that don't have any money, so the family can send money. That's on our webpage. It shows how to get into an inmate's account and give them money.
We talked about video visitation. There's this thing called iCare.
Yeah.
Real briefly.
iCare is they can send packages, go online through the commissary, and they can send an inmate that's in our jail a care package. Basically, they can pick a lot of the different things that's on there and send that to the inmate, and it'll get delivered to them. Major,
I know we're short on time, but there's something really here important that I want to get to and I want to discuss, and that's mental health. That's been a huge issue in the public and on the media. Talk a little bit about that. You've made some strides in our agency, in our jail, since you've come to us about a year and a half ago. Is that how long it's been?
A little over 2 years.
2 years already.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, well, first off, mental health. How does that apply to us in the jail?
It applies to everybody. Mental health in jails and prisons is a national issue that everybody's fighting. So when they come in, we're doing a comprehensive mental health evaluation to determine whether we can identify if there's a mental health issue, treat that while they're in jail. What we don't want is somebody that's on a medication or has mental health issues that they decompensate while they're in the jail, and then they're returned back out in a decompensated level. So we want to make sure we're managing that, we're taking care of them, we're providing them the resources that they need, and then resources once they get out so that they can maintain that functionality. We've got numerous programs that are taught by our jail staff for mental health, and to make sure that we're dealing with it and we're helping them deal with those issues. The second thing that's really plaguing our nation is the drug epidemic.
A question for you is 99.9% of everybody in jail is in jail because of what?
Drugs.
Can you expand a little bit?
And it may not be arrested for drugs, but they committed a crime to feed that drug problem. And that's what it comes into. Your burglaries, your unoccupied structures, your open doors. We have billboards everywhere. People leave their doors unlocked. So they're stealing stuff out of there, they're selling it to feed a drug problem. So it's the one thing that I don't want to leave here without is when you have somebody that's in our jail that has an opioid. Tongue tangler there today. Problem, we do offer a Vivitrol program that's free to anybody that does it, but it is voluntary. It does not cost the family, and it does not cost the inmate.
And lastly, you have an amazing staff back at the jail.
Amazing staff. Our deputies and control room operators, they do a tremendous job, and I want to thank them for what they do every day. They keep us safe, and they keep this county safe.
They absolutely do. And certainly heroes of the jail facilities.
They
do a great job.
They do a tremendous job.
Major, thanks for coming. I appreciate all the information. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you on our next show.